I don't know anything about alcohol. I didn't know anything about hospitality. I become one person, but with, 10 jobs. I want to bring a product that represents Morocco and its diversity. I feel like it's a country that you carry with you everywhere you go. Hi everyone, we're here today at the Franklin Hotel in London, and I'm with Richard Hamilton. Thank you for being here. Sounds like I'm about to interview you, but it's quite the opposite. So I chose to have you for this episode of the making of Sahara is because you have the right questions all the time. Every time we meet, you always ask me amazing questions. And so I'll let you introduce yourself. And we can
start. Well, it's very kind of you, Omar, to have me here in this lovely hotel. And just a bit about me. I'm a journalist, broadcast journalist in Britain, but I've worked in Morocco, South Africa, Madagascar, and I'm also a writer. I've written 2 books about Morocco. I'm very passionate about Morocco. But what I don't really want to talk about myself. I want to find out about Sahara and your lovely drink. So tell us a bit more about it.
Right. So Sahara is a Moroccan fig-based spirit drink with aniseed. That's the product. But Sahara, represents more than that to me, because I started this journey 3 years ago, more concretely, as in practically doing the work for it. However, I've had this idea for more than 10 years. Came about when I moved to the UK, and people would always ask me about alcohol. As you know, British people love a drink. And they always ask me, what alcohol do you produce in Morocco? What do you do? What do you make? There is wine, which is very famous. There is some beers that are also sometimes famous. And then there is mahia. So mahia is the spirit drink in Morocco, traditionally made by Moroccan Jews, and now widely popular in the country. I would always tell them about it, but no one has heard of it. No one has tried it before. And so that's when I the first time landed on this business idea. I was like, wow, no one has done this before to bring it abroad, a brand that's premium in terms of quality and the look and feel. And that's Sahara for me.
And what about its history? Does it go back a long way? And do a lot of Moroccans know about it? I mean, it sounds a bit obscure, but is it famous in Morocco?
So in Morocco it's very famous. That's why the knowledge of making it as well as the consumption has moved to the rest of people in Morocco. However, it has known better days for sure, because in the recent years people would make it at home and then sell it around the neighborhood, and it's a bad quality drink, bad quality preparation. And Sahara's goal is really to change the narrative around that, have a premium product.
And tell us a bit about yourself and your own background from childhood to the present day.
So I grew up in Casablanca, Morocco. I was raised there until 18. That's when I moved to the UK for university. I studied finance. Then I worked at a tech company for some years, and then studied again politics, but I launched an alcohol business. So it's nothing kind of matches, but in a way everything goes together nicely, because every skill I learned along the way has been very useful.
What inspired you to become an entrepreneur instead of working for other people, for example?
To be honest with you, I enjoyed working for other people. It's been a great experience because I learned a lot, and I had, my space to develop within that and do a lot of things. And one of the things that I was doing while working full-time was starting research for Sahara. So the research was more about learning things about a new industry. I don't know anything about alcohol. Well, before, I didn't know anything about hospitality, about being behind the bar and things like that. And then at some point I decided to take the first step of developing the first 12 samples of Sahara. So it's 12 different recipes that we tried on very small scale, just to see the taste and see what we can do and what we can create with the partner distillery. And from there it was like, okay, this is becoming concrete, this is real. And it became real by the day, because more time, the more I have tangible things that I hold, like a bottle, like a cap and a label. So it gave me that sense that progress was happening. At the same time, you know, I was increasingly becoming frustrated with working full time and having a job. So I took that opportunity one day when I was really not in a good mood and the printer was not working in the office. And I have resigned because the printer was not working. So it's very silly, but it was the last bit that pushed me to focus on my own thing. Although I did do that step a little bit early, moving almost full time for Sahara was a good way to make it happen.
So you're glad the printer didn't work?
I mean, I do wish it worked in a way, but because if it was not the printer, it would be something else that took me out. But yeah, no, it's been a great journey since I've left full-time employment.
And what are the key challenges that you've been facing over the last few years?
There was a lot of challenges. So, you know, I'm doing this with quite a limited budget, which means that sometimes I can't afford to hire a designer. I can't afford to do this and that and that and that. This can become challenging where I become one person, but with, I don't know, 10 jobs. I'm the designer, I'm the marketing, I'm the law because I'm reading some legal things as well along the way, product manager, the business developer, the salesperson. And that's can be very challenging. The other parts of it being learning things from a new industry. So learning everything and then being faced with new challenges. One of them is the packaging. I have a very simple design. Sahara is quite simple bottle. And so every little detail has to matter in it. So that took a long time. So many tries until we got it right. And so I'm very pleased because people actually love the bottle. They love the branding. They love the design of it.
And what do you think the sort of core values of Sahara are?
You know, being true to the original recipe, so which has figs and aniseed. So I would like to pay homage to Morocco, and that's where I grew up, and that's where I belong in a way. And so I want to, you know, bring a product that represents Morocco and its diversity. The other point is we are a sustainable business. We partner with a distillery that excels in sustainability. And then the third point, which I would like to develop even more later, is the charitable angle of it. So if you remember, the very first event was a focus group that we've done in October 2023. That was a fundraiser for people who unfortunately were affected by the earthquake in Marrakesh the month before. And that was the very first event, the very first step of bringing Sahara out. And I wanted it to be impactful from that way. And that's, you know, these are the values that bring us together: a spirit of solidarity, spirit of sustainability, and a spirit of being Moroccan and mostly having fun too.
Do you feel you're bringing Morocco to the outside world?
So yes, it's a big part of me. You know, it's a country that's what they used to say in the tourist board of Morocco is a country that travels within you. I feel like it's a country that you carry with you everywhere you go. And I think you can relate to that as well. It's an impactful place. I would say that Sahara, you know, is the spirit of Morocco. So that's what it embodies as a product, as a brand. And I'm very happy to bring the spirit of Morocco to the UK and other countries. We're not only bringing an alcoholic drink, but it's the whole experience of Morocco with it.
So what are your key milestones, metrics and goals over the next few years?
First of all, there was the launch, which was a big milestone for me and for the brand, because we finally got to bring it to the UK, you know, have some initial sales, some initial feedbacks, and that's great. The next phase is to establish a presence in the UK through the bars. So whilst we have an online presence, the bars are a key element to bring a brand to life, really. And so that will be my focus over the next few months. And then later on, I would love to go into international markets, France, Germany, Spain, Italy, Poland, Morocco. So there's a lot in the pipeline, a lot of work to do. And these are all milestones. Every one of them is a great place to be.
And what do you do on an average day? What does your normal day look like, even though it's probably not always the same?
Every day is quite different, but sometimes it goes through phases. So it depends on the challenges that I face throughout a certain time. Then I might be spending a few weeks focused on one single thing. Because the way I work is I need to remove a challenge and then I can face the next challenge. And one of the biggest challenges has been the packaging. So, the capsules took a very long time to make, 1.5 years. And throughout that process of making samples of it, there was times when it wasn't good. And so I just locked myself in and contact, 30 or 40 different new suppliers that can potentially help and do better. That could be my day for some time. Nowadays, what I'm focusing on is getting into the bars. So I would go to speak to bars. It's a lot of movements in the city. So I'm rarely in at home or in at the office, which is home, but it can vary a lot.
And if you had your time again, would you do anything differently?
This question, I would say yes and no to it. Yes, in a way, I would do a lot of things differently. But the one single thing I would do differently is speak to a founder that has already launched a spirit brand very early on. So I've done it, but I've done it quite late in the process. If I had spoken to them on day one, or not even day one, because I've started research before, then it would have been much interesting feedback. I mean, I did look into things online. There was a lot of resources on how to start an alcohol business and things like that. But it's not the same as when you meet someone in person and they tell you sometimes tips that you wouldn't find online or anywhere else. It just comes from practice. But on the other hand, I'm quite pleased with all the challenges or the frustrating moments that I encountered, because it meant that I was learning from every one of them.
Right. You've talked about some of your long-term goals, like scaling up and selling the product in lots of different countries around the world. But over the next few weeks and months, what are your immediate plans?
So right now and over the next few weeks, there's a lot of riding around in London, going to different bars, meeting different people, and trying to, do some events with them and get the brand out there. That's really what I'm doing. And so I'm working with different venues. So one of them will be, again, where we are, the Franklin Bar. So we have a Sahara Martini night coming up. We have a cocktail masterclass coming up. I also have a tasting at Rafia, which is a Moroccan sweet shop that's coming up very soon. I might be sponsoring the North African Festival in London that's coming up next month too. So there's a lot of things happening. And one of them is actually your book launch in the UK, which is 8th of July. Yes?
That's right.
So we will have Sahara at your
great.
book launch.
That would be a very nice accompaniment to my book. It would be a great honor. Thank you.
Amazing. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thanks a lot for doing this.
Great.